Hey guys,
Hey guys, welcome back. It's on Four Towers Films.
and I'm done 218. How's it going?
It's going pretty well. How's it going with you?
Not bad, not bad.
Welcome, happy Sunday. Welcome back to MasterChef Canada. Back to win episode number 10. It was off last week due to the Oscars, but it came back this week. So, welcome back, guys.
So, our final five return, and they notice, well, May notices, she goes, wait a minute, there's five desserts on these tables,
There was nothing on the tables at first.
but
There's like 5 tables, though. So
no, there were six,
there's 6, right?
but one was empty.
They brought out the desserts. When they first got there, the tables were empty.
This is her show, so I'm going with it. Okay.
But they did get 6, well, 5 at first.
And so it was, well, okay, go on. So it was basically they're like, okay, what's missing? So the judges come out and say,
Well, basically, it's the sort of challenge, right?
Yeah.
So they brought out challenges, and basically, there is an inspiration challenge based on the winning dishes of each of the last seasons that have happened. So they brought out 5 of them at first, from season 1 all the way to season 6, except for 1. And it was the guest judges. The winning chef from season 3, Mary Berg.
And she's bubbly, she's bright, she's like,
her.
hi everybody.
And
so she comes out.
Well, they were talking, when she came out, they were talking about what she's been doing since she won.
This girl has been busy.
Very busy. She had a best-selling cookbook. She's had her show, Mary's Kitchen Crush. She's working on a new show. Yep. Mary Makes It Easy, I think they're calling it.
And another cookbook.
And another cookbook. She's been really busy since she won MasterChef Canada.
And so the judges more or less said, look, you win this, you can write your own ticket if you're willing to run with it.
She did
for sure.
Done very well with
it. So basically, they're told, now you have to choose
which dessert.
It's
not a replication challenge. It's supposed to be inspired by the winning dishes. So they actually have to have the same flavors from this dish, but it has to be their own dish.
And
they picked an order of because remember
May won
last week, so she got to pick first, and she picked Mary's dish.
And so May picked Mary, Andrew picked Trevor, Taya picked David. They're both from BC, so they do know each other.
Right.
Andy, who had made it to the finale in his season, picked Becky's dessert.
Who beat him.
He's like, I need to face my demons over this dang dessert.
Right.
And poor Christopher, who lost last week, got what was left, which was Eric. So Alvin goes,
he was actually glad.
Yeah.
They have similar flavors.
And Alvin goes, okay, guys, listen. You have 1 hour and 15 minutes to do this challenge. And everyone's like, ooh, 75 minutes.
Not a lot of time.
Not a lot of time. So Alvin goes, go. So they go off fast and furious. Then all of a sudden, Alvin goes, wait.
Well, they're in it a little bit. I mean, it's funny. At one point, Taya was cooking. She was doing a mousse, and so she's storing it, and it actually came flying out of the bowl, landed on her shoe.
Yeah.
It's funny.
She's like, it's a good thing I didn't wear my good shoes today.
Basically, they were at least midway through the cook when Alvin said, wait, there's a twist. They not only have to do the dessert they're making, but they also have to do a palate cleanser. So it has to be either a granita or a sorbet.
And it has to work with what they're...
The dessert.
they're making.
that they're already making.
So
And
you
so like Chris was like saying, I'm not gonna
Really?
have time for this because his dish is so complicated that he's basically kind of planned it out to the second,
yeah.
so he doesn't really have a lot of time to add another portion to it. So he was a bit worried.
and
It
you,
actually cut it down to the click or the end of the wire.
and you saw this look just kind of ripple through all of the final five, like
Oh no!
son of
Well, what was interesting is they talked to Taya and she was making a cake for part of her dish, and she was saying she doesn't typically bake without a recipe because baking is not her strong suit. But she's just winging it as she's cooking this. So
Well, and all the judges were like, "Look, their stress, the tensions just got to them. Like, we have really thrown it to them." And Mary's like, "Thank God I'm up here."
She must remember what it was like.
Oh, for
although it was
sure.
a while ago. It was like 4 seasons ago. And Andy actually had a little bit of a technical problem because he was replicating Becky's dish.
Yeah.
And if you remember, just a couple seasons ago, she had made what she called a fallen apple, but it was a panna cotta that mirrored the apple, which looked like a sliced apple. But he actually used a real apple.
Yeah.
But what he wanted to do, if you remember, they had said to her that they wished she'd put a glaze on the panna cotta to make it look more like an apple, but she didn't do that. And Andy did try to do that to give, even though it was an actual apple, but he wanted to up the color of it.
Yeah.
And he actually had a little bit of problems with his glaze sticking a bit. And so he realizes why Becky didn't do the glaze on her panna cotta.
Well, and the thing is, you know what? Like we said, he could have done this or whatever, but he was fussing with it.
Well, yeah, exactly, and that's why it kept pulling it off the apple because he'd pour it on and it looked really good, but then he'd fuss with it, so it would kind of tear it off a bit. So,
and then he ended up flipping it over into the parchment paper, and he's like, "Ugh!"
And then again, it would stick.
It would stick.
So he had a bit of problems with it.
Well, like you said, Taya's like, she's just winging it. She goes, "I don't normally cook on the fly, but."
Right. At least baking, anyway.
And they all say this to a certain degree that, like desserts or something, like finale desserts or something, you have months to think about and practice and execute. But you're asking us in 75 minutes to, create a finale dessert. And some of them were struggling through a lot of it.
Yeah.
Christopher, I love him, but he sets the bar for himself so high and wants to have, really show off in his talent. And he is talented. I will give him that.
Well, the thing is, it was so complicated. We'll explain a little bit more of what he did when they get to the judging.
Yes.
But it was so complicated. He was pretty much really running out of time to do all the components that he did with it, and then to add the palate cleanser too. So you really, I was surprised he did finish. They all finished it, but it was actually pretty close. So, but luckily because he is a pastry chef and he actually has a bakery.
Yeah,
I think it helped. So
well, and I think, like we said, he kind of went into this one like he said. They kind of kicked me when I was down last week. Yeah, I remember
last week. Or not last, but last episode.
Last episode. He goes, they kind of kicked me when I was down. So I really have to go all out and really do well in this.
Well, see, the thing is, I almost think it's not really fair what happened last time because it was the other contestants judging them. And now if you remember, the other contestants, they thought his dish was kind of confusing. Well, they thought it was too.
It didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense, and there was some of the flavors were too overpowering. Yet the judges liked it.
Yeah.
So, it was kind of interesting that way that some of them liked it, but see, he got last place because they voted him last place, like the contestants did. But whereas, where the judges actually liked it. So it's interesting.
So it's like, and you can see like the camera's following like May's behind, Christopher's behind.
Yeah, they all at one point were. Yeah.
Andrew, he takes it, hit the dial on his stove, and just whips it up to 450 degrees. He's got meringue in the oven. It goes from golden brown
to broiled.
Like you
It
could
basically burned it.
You could literally see the smoke rolling in the oven, and when he whipped that door open, it's like that puff. He's like,
walked it out.
It's
He
like,
was all
"Dang."
brown.
So
like it was kind of overcooked a little bit.
So it was like, let's call it what it was. It was utter chaos because they were trying to get all this completed.
Yeah.
And then you got
in a pretty short time.
And you got the demon chef screaming the countdown from like the podium. So we finally get to the judging.
All right.
And so Taya gets called up first, and she does a chamomile panna cotta and lemon sorbet. Alvin liked it. He said the flavoring was really good. Michael had very similar comments as well. He said like the limoncello wasn't overpowering,
right,
but it gave that kind of nice punch,
right,
you know. And that's what they kind of were hoping for. And even when they did the walk around, you know, they said, okay, you know, you really need to hit it with that lemon, but don't overdo it.
Yeah, you can overdo lemon. And I think she had blackberry, wasn't it? Blackberry mousse. And they said lemon and blackberry go really well together.
Well, and she wanted to kind of pay homage to David.
Right, because he was honoring his dish.
And so they loved it. And they said it was very fresh. The lemon complemented the berries. Andy gets called up next. Andy's recreating Becky's dish. Now he does a spice.
It was pretty.
It was pretty. I will give him that. Like,
There's also a panna cotta too.
A lot of them did panna cotta.
Yeah.
Except Christopher.
Yeah, and May.
But
we'll get to them.
We'll get to that. We're not going to jump that far ahead. Andy does a spiced panna cotta and a smoked apple palate cleanser. Excuse me. So Claudio's like, so it's apple on top of apple.
Yeah, it was a lot of apple.
Yeah.
It was. It was like he almost boiled some of the apples too. They made a comment about that.
Yeah.
Chef Michael did. He said it would be better if he actually just sliced off apples for the around it instead of he kind of had it was like a boiled kind of apple, and the texture was very similar to the poached apple that he did.
Yeah.
So which was soft, but if you he wanted the contrast in texture, he should have actually just done sliced apple, but didn't think of that. So Claudio was the first to
first to try it, and he tries the palate cleanser. He goes, it, you know, good and bad. He goes, the taste is good, but it's kind of got the consistency of baby food.
Right, yeah. He did it like a granita.
And, you know, like, no competing chef or cook wants to hear that your palate cleanser has the consistency of baby food.
Kind of did look like it.
So when he goes, okay, when I cut through this apple, am I going to be able to, you know, is it going to go smooth through it? And just before it went to commercial, you hear Claudio go, oh no. And when it comes back, you find out that, well, we saw Andy didn't take the skin off the apple.
Right.
But when he just poached it and then candied it.
Yeah.
So because of the poaching process, it made the skin tough,
but chewy, hard to eat.
So like the apple, the flesh of the apple was perfect, but it's to get through it.
Yeah. Well, like the apple itself was poached perfectly, but he should have actually taken the skin off it because it gets chewy, it gets tough to eat.
And even Chef Michael said, you know, the taste was great, but the skin was off-putting.
Yeah.
So it's like it's the taste that would be like
like a texture.
The textural issue.
And same with the other bits of the apple in it. So that's why they just a even a texture difference instead of having almost like the boiled apple have like slices, so you get the crunch instead of softness like throughout the entire dessert.
And it would probably brighten up the palate too.
Right.
So, and he's like, oh, okay,
Well, because he even said you could tell he hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, that would have actually been a good
And he's
idea.
like, I've kind of exercised my demons of this dang dessert.
Yeah.
So Christopher gets called up for judging, and he made a blood orange sorbet. So he kind of said, as his palate cleanser, and he said it was kind of like the flavor of a popsicle.
Well, no, I think he said that the flavor pops. It popped.
So
it might have been like popsicle. I don't know.
Let us know.
We didn't get to taste it.
So he made a gâteau Saint Honoraire. I've never heard of this cake, but it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
And he did like puff pastry with a different kind of pastry cream, which incorporated the flavors that Eric had used, like matcha green tea, chocolate, banana, and everyone was like, "Ooh, wow!" Like they were just oohing and eyeing over this dessert. Mm-hmm. So,
well, because when they cut into it, they're saying even the layers, it's a bit layered.
Yeah,
it was perfection.
Yeah,
and the flavors. And Claudio even said that it's not only the best dessert he's ever tasted in this season, it's the best dessert across 7 seasons.
So Christopher's face just broke out into the biggest smile. Like, good for him,
Yeah.
He
deserved it. I mean,
he
worked hard. Right up to the last second.
And like the judges were like, get it on the plate, get it on the plate, get it on the plate. Okay, so it's May's turn at the judging table. She did it like a cornbread cake with a lemon and blueberry granada.
Remember, she was doing Mary's.
So Claudia said the flavors were good.
But it's more like a meal than a dessert.
That was what Alvin had said. It's like, it doesn't look like a dessert. It looks like a meal.
They like the flavors, though.
They like the flavors, but Claudio said to her, I can see where you lost confidence in this.
Yeah, you lost your way a bit.
Because even she said, as they were heading towards judging, like, this hasn't set. This is not how I wanted it. So the time and the pressure got to her.
Mm-hmm.
And she even said like
she made a mousse too, and she had to pipe it and said how she actually wanted to do the presentation because it didn't set properly.
Yeah,
it had that time to fully set.
So and she herself even said she's not a dessert maker, but she does one
maybe
a week.
Once a week she'll make something for her partner at home, but she's not a big dessert person, or baker.
So Andrew gets called up next. Andrew did a hot fudge brownie with a lemon granita. Claudia said the palate. I kind of thought Claudia was kind of a little vicious with this. He said the palate cleanser did what it was supposed to. It was clean, clear, and simple.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, okay.
It hits the spot basically, but there's nothing really special about it, really.
And he said the flavors of the brownie and the ice.
His inspiration was mint and chocolate.
But he wanted to do incorporate like some of his own roots. He did a tahini ice cream, and which they liked. So Alvin tasted it. He goes, I like it. I've never had tahini ice cream. He goes, but it's kind of safe.
Yeah, they figured the dish was safe. Yeah, they liked the flavors, but it was safe.
So
we were like saying, what can you really do with chocolate mint? It's not safe, though.
Well, that's it.
To be similar to what was initially done.
Well, that's it.
So I mean, you weren't supposed to go too far from what the original chef did. You were supposed to take inspiration from them, but so
it's like, okay, like he did what he could do with it. They put judges pulled back. They're talking. You we kind of wondering. We kind of thought, okay, it was Andy.
Well, because when they're doing the judging, just judging, but well, obviously
Yeah.
for the winner was Christopher. Obviously, that was pretty obvious
Oh.
when they were talking that it would be Christopher that win it.
Yeah.
But who went home? Just by judging from like what they were saying, it sounded like Andy simply because they were saying, cutting into the apple and the fact that it was like a technique issue with the chewy, tough skin.
Yeah, it's an off-putting kind of.
Right, and plus that there really was no change in texture. It was all very soft.
Yeah.
So to us, that's what sounded like would go home.
Yeah.
But it was actually May who went home. So that was a surprise, and we were shocked by that.
And everyone else was like,
yeah. Well, because they liked her flavor.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they thought it was like more like a meal or than a, there were some things that were slightly texturally wrong, but overall, it did kind of sound like they overall like the dish. But no, apparently she was the one who was on the bottom. So.
And before she went, like everyone else previous, who do you think is going to win? And she turned around and she pointed at Taya. Yeah. She said, like me, Taya has improved leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
And Taya's got good a chance as any of them that are left.
I think. Oh yeah, I think Taya. I think most of them are fantastic.
Of course,
cooks really. I mean, if you go by ones who are winning the most, it is Christopher. Who's kind of above most of them. So
for sure.
I mean, I don't have a feeling it'll end up being Christopher, but we've been raw before, so we were shocked that it was May went home today. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
It was a good episode. It was interesting to see a inspiration challenge.
Yeah, because I don't think they've done that before. Like from previous winners, I don't think they've done that before. So that was interesting.
And now there's like 2 episodes left before the finale. So next week's the semifinals.
Yeah, and then the finale.
So it's like you can bet next week's episode's crazy because they're fighting to keep themselves in the. Make that next transition. And a couple of them were like, yeah, semifinalist? Nah. And Andy was like, yeah, I've been to this before. I'm not finishing second.
Andy made the finals before.
And he's like, I'm not going out at second place again. You never know. You never know.
And I mean, and Taya is saying, if she can get past next week, she'll actually pass where she was in season 4.
So it's going to be interesting. Either permutation of the 4 would be an interesting showdown. I think
they're all pretty talented.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
If you think about who might have the best shots, I think Christopher does.
Yeah.
Andy probably does just because he's been in the finale before. I don't think Taya has. I think she made the semifinals her season.
Well,
I don't think she made it to the finals. I think she made the semifinals her season.
From how she said it in the closing.
Yeah.
She got
from
to
what
the
I
semis.
remember too. So yeah.
She got to the semis.
Yeah. They all got, I think, pretty far. I can't remember where Andrew got his season, to tell you the truth.
If any of you guys can recall,
I can't remember
please
where
post it in the comments for Towers.
Yeah, it's been a while since he's been on the show. So it's been 7 seasons.
Oh, for sure. You can't remember everybody. No. But what'd you think?
I thought it was a good. It was unique. It was a different.
For sure.
I liked it. I liked that they give them interesting challenges. What'd you think?
Like I said, I thought it was neat to get them to have to think outside the box. Okay, this is what won. Yeah. How can you change it or tweak it to still pay homage to it, but show your flavor? Yeah. And those that can do it, will succeed. And you saw those who rose to the challenge, like Christopher did.
Mhm.
You know?
I think for him it was easier though because he is a baker.
Yeah.
I mean, this was right up his alley.
Oh,
I mean,
for
let's
sure.
face it, he owns a bakery now, and he even when he was on the first time,
Yeah.
he's known as a baker. He does
Yeah.
desserts for the most part. So I mean, for him, this would have been more up his alley than the other ones,
Oh, for sure.
where most of the other ones don't do desserts that
Yeah.
much. So I think he kind of had a bit of an advantage there.
Well, and
Not to say that none of the others could have won,
No.
but I think it helps.
I think for him as well, it was kind of like a little bit of redemption. I got kind of
Well,
kicked
yeah.
around by the last episode.
Yeah.
You know, I went from, you know, last to first.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you know, and you need that kind of confidence going. You're
Going toward the semifinals.
semis,
It's not going to get any easier.
and it's not been an easy season.
No, well, because they're all returning.
Yeah.
So it's like an all-star season. So
And-
really,
And because all of them have worked in professional kitchens,
most of them. Yeah, most of them have now, or they own their own.
Yeah.
Or they do catering or something.
so I can't wait to see what the semis
Me
are.
too. But that will have to be next week. Thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when we go live every Sunday after MasterChef Canada. And we will see you. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.